Great. So now we can start again. This is Vince with Listings to Leads, and we're doing a rollout call for Keller Williams American Realty and or American Premier Realty, and we're going to do this in two separate calls. And today we're going to talk about the basics, how to set up your account, and how to use the core tools to generate to market your homes, but also to get buyer leads and to get referrals. So there's some really unique pieces here in listings to leads that sort of integrate with what you have available at Keller Williams. I'm going to show you those connection points and how to do that, and then you'll see how wow this can actually generate a lot of leads for us. So that first call today is going to be covering setup and the core tools. The next call, which will be next week, will be talking about Facebook and Facebook advertising and landing pages. So as we've already got the user ID and passwords for every agent. Chris will give those out to you. And when he gives them to you, please log in at the top right up here. Don't create a trial here because you'll just throw a wrench in the works. But up here it says login. And when you click login, you put in your user ID and password and you sign in. Okay. And when you do that, that brings you to the agent desktop homepage, and there's this funny little pop-up here. Please review this pop-up when you're looking at it. I know all of us are busy doing what we want to do and we don't look at it, but this is our fastest, easiest way to communicate with you, and there are always new tools and there's always new information. So what I will point out right here is, as I said, next week we've got a call on Facebook. There's a recorded webinar on one of our most successful agents and how they're using landing pages on Facebook. I definitely recommend that you watch that. Getting started is here. You can watch a recorded version here. We actually do a live call every week. And over on this green button, I'll point this out a little bit later, we have getting started information there. And then we have all the other kinds of like webinars that we do. Facebook advertising, we do it every Tuesday. I can't recommend highly enough that you should know what's going on Facebook, particularly regarding pay-per-click advertising and landing pages like the kind I'm going to show you. It's probably one of the most powerful things in real estate marketing right now. So when you click to the left of this, we get kind of our four green buttons. We get green getting started, we have Facebook advertising, we have a really powerful open house marketing platform. Whether it's your listing or somebody else's, use this platform. You're going to see a ton of lead generation associated to it. And I will be sending a listing presentation to Chris after this call, and he'll share it with you. And that listing presentation actually on the call, the Shannon Pryatt call, he talks about the listing presentation, how he presents listings to leads on every presentation and wins just about every listing. So to get the setup, let's just jump into the setup now. We're going to go to profile. And on profile, you put your picture here. If you've got a team name, you can type in the team name right here and check this box, and that's going to make that's going to make that team name show all over the advertising. Okay, your company name goes here. Your contact information is here, but I want to kind of pay attention to this. You'll notice that there's an email, and there's an alternate email, and there's another alternate email, right? So this is my core email, and I've got it over here checked to say send leads to and send tools to. So obviously when somebody fills out a lead capture form, we got to send that lead somewhere. But the tools, these are tools that we automatically send to you, and we want you to follow steps. I'm going to show you what those steps are. And that's kind of, in this case, all of that stuff is going to me. But you might be part of a team where the leads are going to one person and the tools are going to another person. And then you might even have something like top producer or realty juggler, and you want your leads to go there too, so that they sort of get in your hopper. If you've got that kind of setup, well, you can take advantage of it right here. Down below, there's plenty more information that you can go to. We also have what do we call it, our color themes for all of our advertising. You're going to get a look at that in just a minute, what that looks like. And we usually the red luxury gradient works for you. Down here is probably some of the most important stuff, marketing automation. And I'm going to show you what these tools look like. But this marketing automation setup, the first box is checked. That means that the tools are automatically going to go to me, the real estate agent. The next button says automatically send these tools from the agent to the seller. So I've got it this way so that I can get it automatically to me. But if you're an agent that's super busy and you want these tools to go out and get to your seller and help you generate buyer leads and referrals, then check the second box and then I'll show you how you kind of activate it. Down below is something that's always interesting to real estate agents, and that's a YouTube connection. So if you've got your own YouTube channel, you can click this button right here and it'll kind of take you to a place. I just clicked it, so let's see what happens. It'll take us to a place where we grant access, and at that point it'll pop you back to the profile and there will be a link there. You can see my channel there, and that means that I can auto upload to there. You also want to check this box to auto upload your listings to the data feed. And then down here you can connect a Wise Agent, Talk Producer, your social media. You know, if you've got Facebook and Twitter and all those great things, put your link right here, and these show up on the flyers so that people can join your networks while you're marketing. So that's what we've got going on the profile setup. And you really, there's not a whole lot going there, but you do need to do that. The other important part, super important part, is the template, okay? Now the template, we set it up so we put a banner and we put your logo and things like that there. But what's very important for all of you is what is these three buttons above the logo, right? And it's called links and landing pages. And this is, you know, I was saying earlier in the call, there's some unique stuff connected between the technology you have at Keller Williams and what Listings to Leads does. And what we do in this section, this area is section 1, create direct links to your website. This is really like super powerful, and I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a second. But we have links, you know, I've got a link here that says Lafayette Homes for Sale. It drives to a website. Release Valley Homes for Sale. Abingdon Homes for Sale. Abingdon Autumn Homes. And we're driving right to we can drive right from our ads to your website. So let's see what that kind of looks like, right? So we create links here to your website on the links and landing pages section, and I'm going to just scroll down, and then you can also choose some existing landing pages like what is your home worth, right? I actually have another what is your home worth link up above, so I'm not going to choose it down there, but I have a lot of links and those are really helpful. So now I'm going to go over to the listings page, and that right there, guys, is all you've got to know about for setup. Set up your profile, get your picture, get your emails right, get your YouTube right, get your social media right, and then go to the template and start building those links. And I know that's still like a question mark in your brain, like what is this guy talking about? So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about right now. These are I'm on the listings page, and your listings flow in automatically, and if not, just shoot us a message and we'll map them over. But these are the core tools, okay? And that's really the focus of this call. These two red buttons, the single property website and virtual tour, and these two blue buttons, the e-flyers and social media. Now, I'm pretty sure when I say that to somebody at Keller Williams, some percentage of you have virtual tours that you're married to, and some of you hear the word e-flyers and your eyeballs just go back in the back of your head, right? All of these tools that I just mentioned are super effective in generating buyer leads and referrals. So I'm going to show those to you, and I definitely want you to understand what I'm talking about right now, because these are really powerful tools in listings to leads. So to give you an idea of what's going on and how that can be powerful, I'm going to click on the single property website. Note I'm clicking on the icon, the button, the colored button, and that's what you do in every case. You click on those icons and it kind of gets you to the next place. So this is a little home, and I just was kind of messing around with it, and it's in Abingdon, Maryland, okay? And the key about our system, there's a couple things I'm going to show them to you in a second. One is we have different statuses, meaning the home can be coming soon or just listed or open house or price reduced and things like that. And whenever we make that change, it shows up on the top right here. I'll show you that. But probably one of the most important things that's going on are these links. We call them lead generation links, and they're on the side of your ads. So you know when I pointed out the single property website and the virtual tour and the e-flyer and the Facebook ads, all of those tools have these links, okay? So what we want to do is get these tools into high traffic areas, and I'm going to show you exactly how we do that. So before we go into that, I just want to check in with you, and I also want to say if you got questions about what I'm saying, put them in that chat panel. Now, right here is an email, and I'm going to send this to Chris, but I'm going to speak to it, right? And I want you to understand, because you know how these calls are. You get distracted and you don't know, what I'm talking about. And I want you to know like what you've got to do with this system. So right here it says, for your new listings, choose the right lead generation links. Then share the single property website to Facebook and Pinterest, other social networks optional. Then put your branded virtual tour on KWLS, then get your auto-generated e-flyer and Facebook ads to your client, call them and make sure they forward the posts, okay? So what that's talking about is right here. Choose the right lead generation links, share this to social networks, put this on KWLS, get these two tools out, and follow up with a phone call. We're going to jump into that right now. So going back to the single property website, you'll notice, I've been yammering on here for a bit, a lead capture form just pops up automatically. It's designed to do that. There's also, but let's get back to kind of the core thing, which is what's going on the side. What you got to remember, everybody, is when somebody sees your home online anywhere, the majority of people who see it don't want to buy your home, right? You know that. There's only a few people that want to buy it. There are thousands of people looking to buy homes, though. So on a single property website or virtual tour, when they're looking at your home, we can make a couple of quick assumptions. One, they're looking at homes in Abingdon, right? In this case, this is a super low priced home. I don't know how I found it, but there might be some really key price points in Abingdon, and there might be some key neighborhoods. So if I was looking at a home in Abingdon, like, oh, well, if they know Abingdon, they're probably going to know this. So how do I change these links? We do that right here. Now remember, we started off going to the template and we were creating links. I told you where to create them in links and landing pages. But there is a button right here under the column that says select lead generation links, and it's a green button with a chain link. And I'm going to click this button here, sync with account links, because this kind of refreshes with whatever I've got in my template page. And here are the links I have associated for the home. Search all homes, and that's like a general link to my big search page on my website. I've got one down here that says, what is your home worth? And that's like my default links. But because this home is in Abingdon, I definitely want this link here that says Abingdon Homes for Sale. And I want this link here for Autumn Homes and Abingdon Hill North, because these are like key areas in Abingdon. When people are looking at homes in Abingdon, they definitely like those neighborhoods, right? So I'm going to click Save, and by the way, I am going to show you where these links are pointing, so it won't be such a mystery. When I click Save, it gets me to a reorder, right? And what that means is make these links relevant to the property. I'm going to click on Search All Homes and drag it almost to the bottom. I got what is your home worth at the bottom. I got Abingdon Homes for Sale at top, Box North, and then Abingdon Autumn Homes. And I'm going to click Save and Close. So as I do that, it brings me, it's saved this here. Now, just to point out, on our little cheat sheet, the first thing it says is choose the right lead generation links. And we just did that, okay? Now let's imagine that when you want to choose the right lead generation link, you click here and the right link isn't on your web page, right? It's just not there. So let me click on this one since we're looking at the adding, and you click on it and you're thinking, you know what? This home, it's actually in Abingdon, but it's also in the Abingdon Broadview area. Well, you go to your eEdge market leader site, and these pages right here are super, super important, okay? The Broadview area, click on that link, and if you don't know this about market leader or eEdge, this little summary box is really the money shot, and this is really the value prop for consumers, okay? So you want this to be in front of people right away, and how do you do that? You go up to the top. You can't see it here. There's a little URL, and you copy the unique URL for that page, and you go back here, and you say, you know what, I really want to make sure that this link is active for this listing, and it's going to be Abingdon Broadview Homes, right? Because we know that that's like relevant to this particular listing. And just like any marketing, if you've got relevant call to actions, well, then you get more leads, right? If you don't put any time in these call to actions, and you just sort of like let the stuff auto run, well, you're probably not going to generate as many leads. And so I've saved that. And where I want to go now is back to this single property website. So we save those links, and I'm going to refresh this. And those links are now visible right here on the side of the ad, right? And that's the key. So that's why in this message, the first thing is get the right lead generation links. Because at this point, all of the tools that we have on this dashboard have those links, okay? So we're going to jump through that right now. So item number one, and I repeat this because I know nobody really pays attention. Item number one is select the lead generation links. Item number two is share the single property website to Facebook and Pinterest. Google, Twitter, LinkedIn are optional, right? Okay, what does that mean? That means go to the single property website, and here are the share buttons right underneath your name. Just click on Facebook, click on Pinterest, write a quick note, beautiful home, here's a nice executive home, whatever. But when it's out there and people see it, they're going to look at it, and on average, 30% of the people that look at our tools take a click on one of these over here. So what happens when they click on Abington Broadview Homes, right, or Box Hill? So let's just click on Abingdon Homes for Sale. And what happens is they looked at the single property website. If they wanted to buy that home, they could have contacted you, the agent, just by scheduling a showing or following this home. You would have gotten a lead in your email. But if they didn't want to buy that home, and you knew that if they clicked on it for one reason or another, they had some interest in property, right? That's why they clicked on it. Maybe they saw it in the e-flyer, maybe they saw it on Zillow, maybe they saw it on Facebook or wherever you decided to share it, and they clicked the link and they got over here, and this is your website, and now the consumer has about 3 clicks, and then they got to register and become a buyer lead, okay? So that's the single property website. After you set the right lead generate links, share these under here, okay? So that's that part. The next item on the cheat sheet is put your branded virtual tour on KWLS. What on earth does that mean? That means go back here to the dashboard and click the virtual tour button, the red button with the movie camera on it, and click on branded virtual tours, okay? And now click on auto virtual tour. We're going to click on the auto virtual tour. You don't actually have to click on it. There was a copy button right to the right of it. And the virtual tour looks, it's kind of on the same software platform, but it's going to scroll through and pan and zoom on these photographs. But here's the thing about our virtual tour. So if you have virtual tours from any company inside the United States in real estate marketing, they're not going to have these lead generation properties on the side. They're just not. None of them do. Circle pics and etc. They look great, and that's great. This is a little bit jumpy right now because I got GoToMeeting and I got some recording software, but this is usually a pretty smooth pan and zoom kind of story here, right? So we want these lead generation links out to be in front of the market, right? And how do we do that? In the email, I tell you, put it in KWLS, okay? And all you got to do is copy here, log into KWLS, click on the MLS number for your property, and you'll see a couple tabs. One of them says virtual tour. Paste in the virtual tour and save it, and they will push our virtual tour with all those hyperlinks to your website to over 300 websites, okay? All the ones you know and a couple of hundred you've never heard of. That's a great way to get traffic. Keller Williams is the only company I know of that has a syndication platform like that. It's pretty powerful, and I definitely recommend you use it, okay? So back to the cheat sheet. Okay, well, what about after that? We've shared our single property websites. It's got all the right lead gen links. We put the KWLS out. Now what's this e-flyer and Facebook stuff about? And this stuff is way unique. What I'm going to talk about here is very unique, and I want you to really pay attention to this. because it's super powerful stuff. Now, before I jump into it, yes, we auto upload to YouTube for you. If you've got your own YouTube channel, we'll put it on there. I mentioned it earlier in the call, put it on your profile. Moving to the right, we also set up a WordPress blog, and we post every one of your listings to that blog for you automatically with the lead generation links I just described how you associate. We also give you a tool for posting to Craigslist. When you click on that tool, I'm going to show it to you real quick. There are two little pop-up. There's two little links there. One is a video to see how it works, and we need to update that because it's super out of date. But what it's going to tell you is that get this posting app and put it on your wall up here, or not on your wall, on your bookmarks bar. So you can actually click it and drag it and drop it here. You need to have a bookmark bar, which is kind of this little space right underneath the address bar. You drop it there, and when you drop it there, you can click on it. I have one inside my deal already. And you click on it, and let's see here, if I can show it to you. Of course, I got a million things open and it's acting slow. Yeah. There we go. So this is basically all of my listings are right here. And I can just say, oh, I want to post, the one on Yukon Cliff, and it changes all this information here. So what you have to do is open up Craigslist, set up for a new post, and copy and paste everything over. That's kind of as good as it gets for Craigslist right now. You being at Keller Williams, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with their changes. But also, I do want to really stress this. When those changes occurred, which was in the fall of 2013, Keller Williams agents were just hammering Craigslist all over the country. You may have been one of those folks. But when those changes occurred, you couldn't put hyperlinks anymore in your ads. That was like the bottom line, right? You had a auto poster for Market Leader. We were inside KWS marketing packages, so people were using us to get to Craigslist. But when that all changed, all the real estate agents just sort of dropped it and said, no, this is no good for us. And I would say about 90% of the real estate professionals have walked away from Craigslist. But who didn't walk away was the consumers. And Craigslist is right now probably the number 11 or 12 website in the country right now based on traffic. And it is certainly correct that you cannot paste a hyperlink in Craigslist, but what is happening, and we've got clients all across the country, is they're posting to Craigslist. They're not putting hundreds of ads up there anymore. They're just putting a few. And what has happened is the lead generation has really dropped in quantity, far fewer leads. But the conversion rate is so much higher because they've made it more difficult for real estate agents, they've also made it more difficult for the consumer to get to you. So if the consumer gets to you, there is a lot more seriousness about that lead than it was 2 years ago. So we do have a Craigslist posting tool. I highly recommend that you use it. There's a Keller Williams agent down, I want to say his name is Neil Wolf in Naples. He's generating in a ridiculous way, 50 leads a day from Craigslist. And he's kind of blew my mind, but he's posting this tool, more listing tools, and you all have this inside your account. And he's got his own unique URL. I think it's something like Neil Knows Naples or something. And he posts this. He doesn't put in www. He just put neilsknowsnaples.com in his ads, and posts a bunch of ads or a few ads every day on Craigslist. And people get here, and this is every listing in his profile. And anytime somebody clicks on anything, it's just surrounded by lead generation links. He's got multiple hyperlinks to his website. They're all relevant, and this guy is killing it with Craigslist, and he cracks me up because I just got that confirmed this week. I was talking to their office manager, and I was like, is he still doing that? And sure enough. So Craigslist is huge. Yeah, it's quirky, and it's always been quirky. But that's kind of some of the other cool things we can do. So now let's jump into that other area of why is Vince talking to me about e-flyers? Because I think e-flyers are kind of informational historically. When somebody calls and they have a question about a home, it's yeah, let me send you an e-flyer thing, right? But you have that lead, right? You didn't send that to somebody unless you actually knew who it was. In our e-flyers, we know that people need e-flyers, but we also know that we can generate leads with them. So I'm going to open up this e-flyer button and start talking about this. and you need to kind of get your arms around what this is. So, oh, let's see, we've got somebody on. I'm gonna mute that. And but for everybody that's getting on the call, definitely please, if you got questions, put them in the chat panel. So we're on the e-flyers here, and there's a big concept of e-flyers, and you can kind of grasp it if you can see these letters. We know that there are a series of events in every listing. It could be coming soon. That's a big event. Just listed, big event. Open house, big event. We've also got virtual tour e-flyers, a single property website. We also have that the home is pending or under contract, and of course just sold, right? And then if the price reduced, we've got a flyer for that too. We've got a traffic report. You can print flyers down here. And why on earth do we have all these flyers, right? I mean, why would we do that? We actually automatically send these to you, assuming that you know, the listing has been here for a while, or that you change the status, and I'll show you where to change the status. But the reason we want these multiple flyers to go out to you is because every flyer has lead generation links built into it. They also have a message about you, okay? And I'm going to click view. I can click view under any of these active flyers, and you'll kind of get an idea of what this is. So our flyer has the same lead generation links that are driving to your eEdge market leader site that we had in the virtual tour and in the single property website. And there's your logo, and there's your banner for your office, and here are some great pics of the house, right? But here's the key about our e-flyers and our Facebook ads. Above every one of them, you're probably thinking these are meant to go to you. They're not. They are going to go to you automatically, but they're meant for you to forward to your listing clients and follow up with a phone call and say, hey, please forward this, put this out, forward it to your friends and family. Here's something for your Facebook, put that out. Why? Because on the top is a message that says, hey, dear friends, we've hired Vincent Mazer, in this case it'd be your name, at Keller Williams Realty, right? He's created this and many other tools to increase exposure for our home. We'd appreciate it if you could forward it to as many people as you can. When our clients, meaning real estate agents like you, forward this out to their clients, meaning this listing clients, and they follow up with a 5-second phone call and just say, hey, please send that out, right? We can see from our analytics hundreds of ad views, and a lot of people start to understand that you at Keller Williams are in real estate. And who's finding out? But your clients, friends, and families and colleagues. They're finding out because they got e-flyers, right? So that's one of the many flyers that you got. You've also got a seller engagement email, and you need to come in here and get this and send it right to your client right away. This up here is my banner. Your banner is going to be there. There's going to be a few pictures of the home. And then you can roll down and it shows all the a lot of the tools and all of the areas that you're sort of set for. Mobile, the web, email, single property websites, Facebook, WordPress, Google, Craigslist, right? And then there's your picture down there, and then there's, you know, your logo down there. And this is meant to go, again, to the seller to impress that seller that you got a bunch of things going on, right? So that you go, wow, this guy's got a lot going on. So when these tools go out, they're excited to send them out. Hey, here's our virtual tour. And a lot of clients, a lot of listing clients are really excited to be able to share news about their home because they're excited to sell their home, right? So that's what an e-flyer looks like. And what we also have at the same time any e-flyer goes out, we also have a Facebook ad, right? And the Facebook ad looks slightly different. Well, it is different because Facebook is designed totally differently than email. But let's see why that's taken so long. Okay, let's see. I am going to look at this single property website right here. And this is what the email looks like. So we send you an email, and then there's a message that says, Dear Sally Seller. You know, change that to your client's name. And you can read all this stuff up here, but really the point is you want your client to copy what's between these two red buttons. And notice it's talking about me, the real estate agent, again. Copy this and go over to Facebook. Okay, so I'm going to show you this, and we're going to look at it, and then I'm going to kind of get into a little more detail. So I talked about an e-flyer, and I talked about a Facebook ad. We're looking at the Facebook ad right now. These are coming automatically to your email box, and you need to send those to your client and follow up with a phone call and say, hey, please put that on your Facebook wall. I've got it on mine, and I've got it in the MLS, and I got virtual tours out, and I got Craigslist going, all these awesome things. But I want you to put that on yours. Why do you want them to put that on yours? It's going to look like this, okay? And it's not going to say coming from listings to leads. It's not even going to say it's coming from you. It's going to say this is coming from your client, and it's talking about you. In this case, it's Scott at Listings to Leads, but this would be your name. And when their friends see this coming from them to you, talking about you, well, that's the beginning of getting your referral market seeded with your name, right? You're going to be getting referrals from your clients, friends, and family and colleagues. And 71% of all adults in the United States right now are on Facebook. So this is probably the place where they're communicating the most, right? So when a consumer or anybody clicks on this ad, what happens? It opens up a single property website flyer. Looks just like this. And as you can imagine, all these links are driving right back to your website, right? If they want to follow this home schedule showing, that goes right to your email. And it looks great, and it captures leads, and it's on the #2 website in the country just because you sent an e-flyer to your client and you followed up with a quick phone call, you know. And make sure they can put that on there. I know we got stories where our clients give it to their kids and their kids put it on theirs and everybody shares it and it just starts getting viral, and that's awesome. So that's what this whole e-flyer and Facebook button here, why I said at the beginning of the call it's the most important part. And that's why it's on this little email here that you're going to get. Get your auto-generated flyer and Facebook ads to your client and call them, make sure they forward and post these tools. Okay? So that's kind of the core stuff right there. I am going to open it up for questions, but I'm going to dive into a little more detail. There's another unique part of listings to leads, and you could see it in the e-flyers that there were all these tools, right? But when we click the Edit Enhance button, this is where we can edit our listings. We can edit images over here. But we can also change the status from active to under contract or active contingent or pending or just sold, right? You can also do it as coming soon if that's okay with your office and MLS. That's a great way to just put in a basic little listing, market it out there on Facebook or wherever you can, and get people to know that, hey, you got a home that's not even on the MLS yet. And if inventory is tight in your area, which it is kind of throughout the country, you definitely want to take advantage of that. And then of course you can put the open house date and time down here, and then you can save it at the bottom, and all these tools occur. So let's go back to the listings page and kind of have a glimpse of what that looks like when we've got these different statuses. My homes here, over here on the left, I can see they're A for active, but I've also got one here that says just sold. So what happens when the single property website looks like it's just sold? It looks the same, except up on the top right is this banner that says just sold, okay? And that's great because we can put this back out and say, hey, everybody, this property just sold and it was awesome, and if you want to get the final price, click here. What is your home worth is a lot more relevant in that way. And the what is your home worth is a landing page, a lead capture form, right? So you want to take advantage of that. This, by the way, is kind of a precursor to next week's call, which these are the property valuation landing pages, and these combined with Facebook are ridiculously powerful. But you can for marketing, right? So that's what a single property website looks like when a home is just sold. But what do our e-flyers look like, right? That's also because when I talked about it earlier, I said, you know, there's a lot of tools that are going to go out, and I said, we're going to get these to your clients, and they're going to keep seeing your name. Well, what are they going to see when the home is sold, right? What's that message look like? We can click view here, and it says, dear friends, Vince and Meza at Lafayette Realty got our home sold. Did an excellent job, work paid off, recommend them. Here's his name and number, okay? Already pre-built in the email. So if you have changed your home to just sold, you're going to get this flyer in your email. All you got to do is send it over to your client and follow up with a phone call. And at the very same time, you could say, hey, I sent you a Facebook ad too. And if you could put that on your wall, that'd be awesome, right? And let's just go look at that. What does that look like? Well, kind of the same exact thing, right? Click view. Our home just got sold. We want to recommend Vincent, blah, blah, blah. Here's his name. Here's the link to all that lead capture. Here's his number. So that's a pre-written testimonial for both Facebook and for email. And it's all automatically being generated, assuming that you're taking it and getting it out of your email box and forwarding it on. So that's kind of the cool stuff, right? There's also down here, there's active contingent. And I'll give you another kind of glimpse at the future here. And then I'm going to open it up. So, right, I said there's a big banner here of active contingent, and that's what we've got. And that active contingent banner flows through, the e-flyers and, of course, the Facebook ads. I don't know if we actually looked at that, but let's look at that real quick. Here's an active contingent flyer right here. And because we changed the status, made it active contingent, boom, there's a big red banner. So it's not the same tool going out. There's always something different about it. And again, but every time it goes out, it looks good and it's got lead generation around it. And that's what we really want to do. We take the same functions that you're always doing in real estate, but we make sure you can capture leads on it. So if there aren't any other questions, I'm going to give you one quick glimpse of we kind of saw it with that property valuation page. But there are also listing landing pages. So this is a kind of a glimpse of next week's call. And listing landing pages are a great way to get in front of the market. You remember I mentioned, hey, you can market a home coming soon. And this landing page could say this home is coming soon, right? And you can see that this landing page does one thing. It's really designed to get leads, right? Get a name and an email and ideally a phone number. And that's it. So every page comes with a listing landing page. Every listing comes with a listing landing page. And you should, by all means, be marketing that and get that on Facebook and get lots of people to see that. Because it does a couple things. One, it can grab leads. But two, yeah. Okay, Francesca, we're going to go over that again. That's a great question, and thanks for asking. So give me just a second. One, we can capture leads with those listing landing pages. And two, we can also get our eyeballs, right? Thousands of people will see these ads on Facebook for like $1 a day. You can run that for 3 or 4 days. A couple thousand people are going to see that. And those are a couple thousand people that probably don't know you're in real estate today. Okay? So when we do that, all of that discussion is over here on the home page. Every day that you log in, there are recorded webinars, but it's Facebook advertising right here. And all those directions are right there, okay? So Francesca asked a question, how do I get those links on the side of my ad? Okay? And let's look at this one. Well, this one's in gold. How do I get these links to be the ones that I want? And let's go here. And here's one in Naples, right? So that's not really going to help us. But let's go back. So what we're trying to do is we want to go look at your website. Okay, this is a market leader site, or e-edge, whatever you call it. And what you ideally want to link to are these pages right down here. Okay, Bel Air, whatever, wherever your home is. And when we click on the listings page, so there's kind of 2 steps to creating links. So I'm going to click on the listings page, and right now, if I go to single property website, we started the call on this, but we'll go over it again anyway. Here, these links are actually relevant already. Abingdon, homes for sale, Box Hill North, Autumn Homes, Search All Homes, right? How did we do that? We clicked this green button right here under the column that says select lead generation links. And when we hover over it, it says select links. We click it, and this shows us the links that are inside our template. So I can go, oh, you know what? Okay, I want all these. I've already got my Abingdon ones checked here, and I've got Search All Homes, so I'm kind of good to go. I just save, and boom, those links now appear on that. But if those links aren't created in your account, you should, and this is the early part of the call, go to template, go to links and landing pages, and create all the links you need to your website in section 1 here. okay? Get more, type in the name of the link, get the unique URL. Let's say I needed a link for Bel Air, okay? I click on Bel Air, and I definitely want to do it like this because I want this summary page to be right here. Because if anybody, any consumer clicks on a link that says Bel Air Homes for Sale, and they land on this, they know they found something underneath my picture that's telling them everything that's going on. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to type in Bel, if I know how to spell Bel Air, Homes for Sale. And you could click include for all, or you could say, hey, I want to put it in Bel Air, but I'm just going to leave, I'm just going to create it, and I'm going to save it, okay? And when I save this link, because I didn't say include for all, I'm not going to see it on the next page, but it kind of saves it in my inventory. And then when we go back to the listings page, I'll show you how we can see it again. So give me just a second. So it's showing me my two default links. At this point, it's saved in the account. I'm going to go to listings, and when I go look at that first property in Abingdon, now I don't really know geographically what your area looks like, but I can click this select lead generation links, and ideally my links are going to be right there. So because I just created, I want to click this button that says sync with account links, and here's my Bel Air link, and here is Abingdon Homes for Sale and Autumn North, etc. And so I got search all homes, Bel Air, and I've also got something down here that says what is your home worth, right? So at that point, choose 5 links. That's like the max you really want to do. Put search all homes down here above this section. I got Bel Air, I got all my Abingdon links there. Save and close, and now all those links are flowing all through these tools, okay? So good question. How do you create lead generation pages that appear on the left? Yeah, that is the question. I don't see any more. Are there any more questions, anyone? And let me remind you, we are going to be talking about Facebook and landing pages next week. But this really shows you how the system works, how the core tools work when you have listings, and what you want to do to get the most kind of exposure and generate buyer leads and referrals, okay? So I'm going to just kind of jump on this email one more time. From here, we covered this section, the top half of the email today, for your new listings. We also covered setup. How do you set up your profile? How do you set up your template? Down here is some of the more exciting stuff, which is generate buyer and seller leads on Facebook. And we're going to be talking about that all the time. Please don't ignore that. That's some of the most powerful stuff going on right now. And then we'll have a link to this call right here so that you can see that. So if there aren't any more questions, everybody, I want to thank you for your time, and let me know, you can lean on us and support. I'll point out a few other things. In Tutorials FAQ, we have a ton of tutorials right here. So if you get questions, you can just type in the little search page on the top here and get your answers. Like if you don't know how to put something in KWLS, right? In the email I said, and we talked about it, put your listings on KWLS. Well, how in the world do I do that? Well, just type in KWLS and boom, there's an article, right? Shows you how to do it step by step. There's a page right here that says contact support. During the week, we've got like 3 or 4 people watching this. This is the fastest way to get support, right? Just click contact support, put a trouble ticket here. We've got your ID and code so we know what account this is affecting. And then over here on the home page, we've got a lot of great tutorials, the Facebook stuff, the open house lead gen stuff, the listing presentation. And whenever you see back on the listings page, you notice there were some column headers. Here's price, but over here these are underlined, and that means when you click on them, there's a tutorial right there to show you what do I do with my virtual tour, what do I do with my flyers, how do I select the right lead generation links, right? So a lot of stuff is here. You're not going to learn it all, by flicking a switch, but there are a lot of resources